Welcome to the Community Difference-Rockwall. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. And sponsored by Delisa Lapinsky Realty Group. B1 Bank. Compass Facilities Consulting. The One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Barnaby Heating and Air. Minuteman Press of Rockwall. And by WeatherTech General Contracting.
The Community Difference-Rockwall was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference-Rockwall starts now.
Good afternoon, Rockwall. I am Lyndon Wilson, and I am the creator of the Difference Media, radio, live stream, and podcast, and also one of the creators of the Community Difference series that we have. I have a show in Frisco, we have one in Plano, we have one in Wiley, and obviously the one in Rockwall. I'm filling in today for Delisa Lapinsky, who is out for personal issues. She had a little broken bone that I think she's having taken care of today, and hard to host a show when you're getting those type of things taken care of. Excited about the show today. I'm excited to be sitting back in the hosting seat. I'll also be producing. So if you do see me looking around and punching buttons, just know I haven't lost focus. I'm just trying to keep everything on track. So before I go too deep into anything, just want to remind you what this is all about, and also remind you that we have a community Facebook group called the Community Difference-Rockwall. If you haven't joined yet, please do, because we want to be able to locate possible guests and people that are involved in our communities, because what the Community Difference is all about is the people, places, and events that makes Rockwall so special. So if you know somebody, if you are somebody, if you're part of a nonprofit or a charity, and you'd like to come on our show, share your message, and let the people of Rockwall and surrounding areas know more about you, your business, your event, whatever it might be, reach out to us. We'd love to have you as a guest. So having said that, we got two co-hosts with me today. One is Kayne Pierce, and the other is Frank McLeod. I'm going to go ahead and bring those in now. What's up, gentlemen?
Hello, Lyndon.
How are y'all?
Can't complain.
Awesome Wednesday.
Glad it's not raining.
Well, looking out the window here, it looks like it could, but I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get out of this kind of weather that we have here in North Texas. I think I saw the other day on the news that we were like 6 inches above already this year for rainfall, and which, if you live on Lake Ray Hubbard, you know that you better stock it up as much as you can in the spring, because by the summertime, there's not going to be much left.
Yep.
In June.
All right. Well, yeah. So here's what I want to do, Frank. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Kayne, then you tell people about yourself. And then we're going to bring your guest in, and we'll let y'all talk to them a little bit before we go to our first break.
Sure. I'm Frank McLeod. I own Minuteman Press here in Rockwall. We're a full-service printing and graphic design company. We can help you with anything you need printed. My number is scrolling below. If I can help you out with anything, give me a call. All
right. And Kayne?
Hey, I'm Kayne Pierce. I'm VP and Commercial Banker with B1 Bank. My office is in Heath, right by Standard Service. My contact information is also scrolling across, and basically I do anything banking related, and if I don't do it, I've got a coworker here who does.
All right. Well, we'll get more into y'all's businesses later for those that have not seen you before. We started this show back in September. So how many months is that now? We're in 5 years. So about 9 months. We're 9 months in just about.
That is hard to believe.
Isn't it? It's crazy. We just finished season 1 with Wiley, and Wiley had 70 episodes and over 160 guests and over 500,000 viewers on our Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and podcast profiles. So really, really cool numbers. Just start season 2 tomorrow. And we've got some new co-hosts on that. So we're really excited about season 2. But what we're here to do today is for you guys to introduce your guest. I'm gonna go ahead and bring them both in, and
Sure.
we'll let Kayne go first. Kayne, introduce Allie, and then after you're done, then we can get Frank to introduce Bobby.
Sure thing. So joining me today is Allie Helms. She is the marketing manager of Unco. And Unco, I'll let her tell a little bit more about it, but they're a hospitality group that owns and operates quite a few restaurants you're going to be very familiar with in and around Rockwall and the greater DFW area.
Welcome, Allie.
Thank you, Kayne, and everybody else.
Well, Allie, tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do. Like I said, we're going to get into more of that in depth later, but give everybody just a little bit about you right now.
Okay, awesome. So like Kayne mentioned, I'm the marketing manager at Unco, a local hospitality group. I'm actually from Rockwall. I grew up in Rockwall, so I'm very dialed into the community there. And I touch on every part of the business from the marketing business, from social media, ad, PR, communications, digital, everything like that. So it's very, very rewarding, especially for a foodie.
All right. Well, again, thanks for being here. Frank, tell us, introduce your guest, Bobby.
Sure. I brought on Bobby Gallana today. I've dealt with Bobby since I bought Minuteman. He's got a company called Barmetrix, and we've done a lot of printing for his company, and now he's running for office for county commissioner. And you can't drive across Rockwall and not see a Bobby Gallana sign. They're everywhere. It's been a hot race for a few months now. But Bobby, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so the race is definitely a hot race. I appreciate you mentioning that. But in a normal life, I own a consulting company called Barmetrix, and we really focus in the hospitality industry mainly. And what we do is we work with a lot of regional and independent players, and we help them turn their losses into profits, is what we like to say. So we go in, we find out, most of the time in the restaurant industry, Allie, as you probably know, there is a lot of loss, usually at the bar, sometimes in the kitchen, and we help to go in and find out what's causing the loss. And then once we know what's causing it, we work with the team to mitigate those losses. And for example, the average loss in DFW amongst our clients when we start with them is about 30%, and our goal is to get them to about 2%.
Wow! So you're like the bar rescue guy, right?
Yeah, in real life.
Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, all the time.
I'm sure you have.
Shut it down.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all all being on. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to do a What's Up Rockwall segment. I think Kayne and Frank both have some things to share. Bobby's probably got some things to share. Allie, if you know anything's going on in Rockwall, that's what we're going to talk about. So everybody stick around. We'll be back in just a few.
The Community Difference-Rockwall is brought to you in part by Alan Lester, loan officer with the One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Delisa Lapinsky with Lapinsky Realty Group. Frank McLeod with Minuteman Press. Kayne Pierce, Vice President and Commercial Banker for B1 Bank. Charles Barnaby with Barnaby Heating and Air. Brian Decker with Compass Facilities Consulting. And Josh Small with WeatherTech General Contracting. If you, or someone you know would like to sponsor, or be a co-host sponsor of this show, or other shows like it, please give us a call at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now, back to the show. What's up, Rockwall?
All right. What's up, Rockwall? This is a segment where we talk about the people, places, and events that are going on in Rockwall. And it's one of my favorite parts of the show because doing this show and then the other ones that we do, I get to find out so many things that I don't know that's going on. I mean, I live in Wiley, and I get to find out each week that there's something I didn't know was happening. We had a rodeo not long ago, and if I hadn't have heard about it on the show. I wouldn't have known it even existed. So, Frank, do you want to go first?
Sure. Lyndon, what I've got is last year, this time, the Chamber of Commerce put on a deal called Lemonade Day. And basically, they got about 100 kids that built their own lemonade stand, came up with a marketing plan, and ran their business all day on a Saturday. Well, that's coming up again, except they've changed it a little bit. And this year, it is a youth market. So the kids will be selling different products, some of them will have lemonade, and they're all setting up in the same spot right around City Hall, right off of Goliad downtown. So that's going to be on Saturday, May 4th. It's an all-day event. That's this Saturday. So definitely go down there and show the kids some support. They really get into it, and it's a really good event.
Okay. What I would like to do, Frank, if we can make this happen, let's find some of those kids that we can interview on our show after the event is over. I think it'd be really cool to bring on some of the youngsters and just find out what their mindset and what their perception of being a young entrepreneur is all about.
Perfect. I can arrange that.
All right. Sounds good. That's why I asked you. I figured you could. Kayne, what about you? What do you got going?
Yeah, there's a few things coming up. Tomorrow night, the Concert by the Lake series here in Rockwall has started back up again. So that's every Thursday. And at 7 p.m., the Rockwall Philharmonic Orchestra is playing. That is a free concert. Just go out to the harbor. You can, bring a snack or get some food there, but it's always a good time. And it's really great that it's not so hot outside just yet. So it's a good time to enjoy that. On the same day, really at the same place that where Frank's event is that he talked about, Lemonade Day, just across the street is the Rockwall Farmers Market. That started back up. That'll be Saturday, starting at 8. Always great to visit that a few times a year if you can and see all the local producers. Lots of good food and good camaraderie down there. And also on Saturday at 11 a.m. is the Kentucky Derby watch party at Standard Service, which just happens to be one of the Unco restaurants that our guest, Allie, is involved with.
Kayne, I heard something else about the farmers market. Evidently, Rockwall was in competition with Kaufman, and the vendors kind of split up, and they have shut down the Kaufman farmers market. And so they are completely booked all year with a minimum of 50 vendors every week. So it's going to be really good this year.
Cool. Sorry for Kaufman, but good for us.
Sorry about your bad luck. So Kayne, here's my Kentucky Derby story. I just found this out the other day. One of the guys that I played college ball with, that I went to college with, he's got a horse running in the Kentucky Derby. And so he's won Louisiana Downs, which is, your old stomping grounds, several times. And I knew that he was racing there, but he's made it to the big show. So that's pretty cool.
He may have a very good day Saturday.
He might. I'll be watching. I will be watching. So, Bobby, tell us a little bit about what's going on in Rockwall from your perspective.
Well, I'm deep into this campaign, so I'm going to talk about elections, and mine's not right now, but there is a bunch of municipal elections going on in Rockwall currently. Early voting is already passed, but don't worry, you can still vote on election day, which is May the 4th. And for Rockwall, you've got a contested school board race. If you live in some of the communities around Rockwall, like Fate, McClendon, Chisholm, you've got contested council races and even a contested mayoral race. So really important to vote in local elections. So far, we've only had about 6% of registered voters turn out to vote in this election, and we've got to do better than that. These local elections really impact you far more than federal elections do. So it really impacts your everyday life. So get involved, get out and vote if you can. And then right after that, May 20th to the 24th is early voting for Commissioner Precinct 1 runoff, which I'm in. And then the HD 33 state rep runoff is also May 20th to the 24th with election day on the 28th. So back-to-back elections coming up.
All right. Allie, what about you? You know anything's going on in Rockwall?
I do, as a matter of fact. So, like Kane mentioned, Standard Service is having a Kentucky Derby watch party on Saturday, and they're also having a kind of Cinco de Mayo party as well. Got some specials on margaritas and featuring tacos on the menu. But then Culpeper and Rockwall is actually having a fajitas and Ritas party for Cinco de Mayo. We're offering some really good specials on our fajitas. You can pair it with a big old pitcher of margaritas on special too. So that'll be super fun.
Guys, I got to tell you about the fajitas at Culpeper's. They have a dish called the Cadillac fajitas that has the sausage, shrimp, chicken, and beef.
Mm-hmm.
Me and like 3 or 4 other guys went for lunch there just a few weeks ago, and we ended up just splitting that. It was more than enough food, and it was super, super good. So always look forward to fajitas over there.
All right.
My favorite.
Well, now I'm hungry, so and I wouldn't mind having a margarita, but I guess I'll have to wait till the show's over. All right, so let's dive in now a little bit to our guests. We're going to let Allie go first. I was told the other day we had one of our meetings on our shows. They go, "Why do you always do ladies first?" I'm like, I don't know, because I'm just a Southern boy and that's how I do it. So, Allie, tell us a little bit more about you now in Unco and what you do.
Yes. Okay. So Unco, like I mentioned previously, is a local hospitality group founded in 2013 by our co-CEO, Elias Pope. And really our flagship location is HG Supply Company. And that one, the very first one was on Lower Greenville Avenue in Dallas. And since then we've expanded to Fort Worth and Trophy Club. But then in 2018, he joined forces with our other co-CEO, Samir Patel. And then they kind of came together. Samir brought, a wine bar called Leela's, and Elias had all these awesome concepts and ideas, and they joined forces to become what Unco is today. And Elias is from Rockwall, and so those concepts that we have out there are really near and dear to his heart. And so, that's awesome for me because I'm from there too. So I definitely understand how those work as well, and grew up going there and things like that. But so like I mentioned before, I touch on all parts of the marketing funnel at Unco, social media especially. So I think that'll be helpful as we, dive into topics of conversation. Like I mentioned, advertising, paid campaigns, anything from signage to menus, you name it, that kind of falls under my realm. So.
How did you get involved and get started in this? What led you down the path you're on now?
So, like what got me started in the industry, or kind of what got me started at Unco? Okay, industry. Yeah. So I come from, I got my degree in advertising and public relations, and I always knew I wanted to go into social media marketing. So I started out my career at an agency, a local agency in Dallas. From there, I had a lot of hospitality clients, and that's kind of where I found, my passion for hospitality and restaurants. And I just fell in love with the industry and how fast paced it was. Then I, moved to another hospitality group in-house. And then eventually through the grapevine, I had kind of known about Elias. He's very popular in the Rockwall community. And I had heard him speak a couple of times. And so I reached out, got started with him, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Well, tell me, what is your favorite part about Rockwall? What do you love the most about Rockwall?
I feel like it's still a small town. Relatively, it's still a small town. Everybody knows each other pretty much. Anywhere you go, anytime I go to Standard Service, I always see someone I know. So I think that's my favorite part, that it still feels very close-knit, like a close-knit community. I think that would be my favorite part.
Okay. All right. Well, we will talk to you more about what you do in Unco a little bit later, but now we're going to go over to Bobby. Bobby, I want you to talk about your business, because obviously it seems like there's some alignment here with Allie. So, and being the bar rescue guy, and I don't mean to poke fun, but so I always, I love that show because being an entrepreneur for 30 years, that in itself is hard. being in the restaurant and bar business is really hard because that's not where I got started, but I worked in one for a long time and I helped manage one, and it was just put it this way. I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. I'll just put it that way. It was hard. But I think most people don't understand the thin margins that are there, how much loss is there. So I want to hear more about that. How do you go in? How do you evaluate the business, and how do you develop a strategy to help them get back on the right side of the track?
Yeah, so that's really what we do in a nutshell is we try to go in and mitigate loss in every bar or restaurant you go in, no matter how tight their operations are, has loss that they probably don't know about, because when you're in a business every single day, you kind of have blinders on. You don't see everything, and that's why it's always good to get an outside view from an expert in to see exactly what's going on with your business. But we work with, like I said, independents, regional players, and we always start with their bar business because that is where the most loss is. Every time, I've been doing this for about a decade, and every single time the most loss is at the bar, every time. So we'll go in and we do inventory for them, and that's how we really kind of figure out where their baseline is. So I don't really use any of their data that they give me yet. I'll go in and do an inventory myself with my team, and then we'll start studying their point of sale machine and their invoices and how they're purchasing things. And we'll come back in about a week and do another inventory. And that way, all the data really is ours. And we know exactly what their inventory was in between all their purchases for that week. And we know essentially for 1 week how they performed, really what their profit and loss is, if you will, for a week. And we kind of take that, we'll do it about 3 weeks in a row initially, and we find out how they're performing. And that's a really good snapshot from what we found to say how they're performing for the whole year, basically. And we'll take that data, we'll sit down with ownership, all the key players, and we form a plan around whatever it says. Now, typically, when we work with places, I've only had 2 clients in 10 years be good. The data look good, and me be able to say, well, you don't need me, really. But all the other clients were near 30% loss on average, just at the bar. And so,
Wow.
and that's a combination of stuff. And Allie, as you probably know, it's a combination of things. It's, bartenders giving away drinks. It's just over pouring sometimes, and it's lack of knowledge on recipes. It's a myriad of things, but it's just, you really just need to get everybody on the same page first. We're not in there to try to cause disruption in their business. We're in there to try to really create unity with their team, so everybody can go the same direction and perform together. And really, that's really what it is in the beginning. It's just getting everybody on the same page, headed the same direction as a team, and everybody knowing what their roles are and what they're supposed to accomplish. And once we get the bar kind of in line, and that can take anywhere from a month to 6 months, depending on how quick they want to, act on some of these numbers. We move on to the kitchen and we fix that too. And then we move into things like labor models and the whole 9 yards. Our goal really is to fix everything and to make them healthy. Most of these restaurants, they go out of business in a year or 2 years. The vast majority of them, especially the independents. And I really just want to make the industry healthy. That's my goal.
What do you think is the reason that they go out? I mean, obviously it's, and I hate to use this word, poor planning, but or management, but because you do see that, you do see businesses. I mean, I've seen them that didn't last 3 months.
Yeah.
And what is the number one reason you think that they go out of business so quickly?
It's a couple things. One, they're undercapitalized when they start. That's a lot of the time. They don't raise enough or have enough access to capital in the beginning, and the beginning can be rocky no matter how good you are. It's going to take a while to get on your feet. Then the other part is just mismanagement, really, and it's not coming from a place that they don't want to do well. It's mismanagement because they just don't know what to do. Right. A lot of people aren't restaurant experts, and they can't afford a team of people that are restaurant experts when they start out. To make it go right. So it's just a lack of knowledge a lot of times. And that's kind of where we come in, either as that knowledge source for them to get things on track. We do a lot of trainings too, with management teams and teach them how to lead. There's a lot of that we see too, just a lack of leadership and just no action being taken at the venue.
Gotcha. Well,
How
you know,
do
for
you
those
get
that
your
are,
clients, Bobby? Do you go to like trade shows and set up booths and that kind of thing, or do you cold call?
We in the beginning, we started in Dallas first, and in the beginning, we did all of those things and cold called, and we once we got about 10 clients on board, and we kind of stopped all of that, and we haven't really done any of that since, because we've been lucky enough to be so busy that we haven't really have time to do that. We're trying to grow our team as fast as we can, but it's all word of mouth now. So the industry is very close knit, especially in
Right.
DFW. I've found it's very close knit, and so when you do a good job for somebody, they are telling everybody, hey, you need to try to work with them, and we have a goal to make it affordable for everybody. We do, weekly and biweekly P&Ls for clients depending on what they can afford. But, we're almost like a consultant on retainer. We don't charge big consulting fees. We charge a set amount weekly or biweekly. And we take over their whole inventory process. So it saves them hours and time and gives them an expert on their team whenever they want it.
you know, for those businesses that you were talking about being undercapitalized, I happen to know a guy that probably could help.
Yep, I do too. I can see him.
If they want a card, I probably can get it for them. And you know what you were saying, Bobby, is true. I mean, my gosh, if I'm sitting there at a 30% loss and I'm struggling, and you come in and turn that around for me, I'm going to be shouting that from the rooftops, man. I'm going to be telling all my buddies about that. So good. How did you get started in this? I'll ask you the same question I asked Sally. How did you get started in what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I was a waiter in the restaurant industry a long time ago, and then was a manager while I was at Texas A&M. That's how I put myself through school. So, and I kind of got my feet wet in the hospitality industry at that time, and I love it. I eventually left it because working 100-hour weeks with a family is not it's not ideal. So I left it and went and did the corporate thing for a while. But when I retired from that, I knew I wanted to do something in the hospitality industry again, because it's really my passion. And I had a consulting gig. Kind of right when I retired, I had a buddy that had opened a restaurant and asked me to do some consulting for him, and it just kind of lit the fire. And I thought, how can I really do this as a career and help people? My goal was really to help independents who don't have access to all of these kind of tools that a corporation would. And so that's how I got my start. It was really kind of simple. We found some technology and helped develop it so that we have a real technical approach to it too, a real data-driven approach to it. And it just kind of fell together, but it was really just out of passion.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we're going to have to take our next break. And when we come back, we are going to start talking about our main topic, unique talking points here, the digital media mindset, turning social media into service media. And if you're someone that's a business owner and really want to understand how to use your social media platforms more effectively, we've got an expert here in Allie. I can't wait to pick her brain. And so we're going to hit a break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to get into our topic. So everybody stick around.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Frisco Fighters prepare to reach new heights at Comerica Center this spring. From competitive matchups to exciting theme nights, you won't want to miss a second of the action. Join us and experience high-scoring, hard-hitting indoor football that's fun for the whole family to enjoy. Visit FriscoFighters.com for game highlights, tickets, or to reserve your spot at the Tarmac Tailgate Party. Frisco Fighters, fly with us.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111. Are you a business owner looking to grow your company? Get fast, easy financing up to $5 million with no minimum FICO score required. Apply in 60 seconds and get funded in 24 hours. Call Jim Thomas at 214-629-7223 to talk to a financing professional today. Your business's future is waiting. So don't delay. Call now and tell him that you saw him on The Difference.
And now back to the show.
All right, we're back. I want to thank everybody, all of our sponsors, for making this possible. We really appreciate you. Frisco Fighters lost their first game last week. They are currently 4-1 and doing very well. If you've never been to an indoor arena football, it's pretty dang exciting. It's like hockey and football had a baby. That's the way I describe it, because you're right there on the edge. You got players falling in your lap. It's pretty cool. So let's get to our topic now. Let's the digital media mindset. So I'll just tell you where we came up with this topic. When I first started doing the radio show about 4 years ago, we had a guy come up and we were all discussing social media and how it can be such a time suck and such a distraction. And, you know that the people that you want to reach are there. I tell people all the time that this thing that you hold in your hand gives you access to everybody you'll ever need in business if you know how to use it. And so he told us, he shared this, he goes, where I changed the way my approach and the way that I viewed Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of it, was when I started using it for service media. When I got away from the social part and I realized that I needed to be using this to become a resource to the people within my community. And he said at that point, my community started growing because I was a resource. And he explained it like, I'm not just a resource on what I sell. I'm a resource in other ways as well. So, Allie, I'm going to put you right on the spot. And I want you to talk about that. Talk about what your thoughts are on the difference between social media, the mindset of social media, and the mindset of service media, and maybe some things that you're doing and that you've done that really help you and the people you work with grow your business.
Yeah. Love, that reference of, this person using their social media as a resource for the community. I think oftentimes when you're putting together a social media strategy, the basics that I would stick to in order to really build community, because that's what's most important, is building that community. Because if you're just posting promotional content after promotional content, come join us, come buy this, come do that, asking, nobody's going to be interested in what you're saying. You have to provide a mix of content. And what I like to do is think about it in 4 different pillars. So I'm going to create content that is informative, maybe, sharing a little bit about my business, maybe a little bit about why, the story behind my business. And then maybe some entertaining content, maybe if it fits your brand to hop on the latest trend or or, funny reference, maybe I'm doing that. I'm providing entertaining content to my followers, another reason of why they would want to follow me. And then that third one's going to be inspirational. Maybe it's an aesthetic photo of your space or your product or whatever it is. And that's something inspirational. People can aspire to want to be there, do that, use that, without saying blatantly, just buy my product. Right. So because nobody wants that thrown in their face all the time. So I think it's important, to build your community and provide content that is valuable to them, to show them that, you're not just using your platform for promotions. And, as a person who's running social media, it can get exhausting always, asking all the time. But yeah, totally building a community and providing that content is what's super important.
One of the things that I was watching the other day on social media was a gentleman that got up and he was talking and explaining about Red Bull. And he goes, you will never see a Red Bull commercial about their product. You see Red Bull as their marketing strategy is a lifestyle. And that lifestyle makes you think that you get that lifestyle if you drink Red Bull. Right? So it's not just always about the Red Bull. It's about a feeling and an emotion that makes you believe that, okay, I'm in the store, I'm feeling down today, I'm going to pick up a Red Bull and go with it. Kayne, I know you and I talked a little bit before we came on air about some different topics, but share a little bit about you, because I know you've got some different things that you do with social media, and just share a little bit about what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, one of the kind of points that I thought was interesting was the authenticity versus perfection thing. I think if you come off as too polished these days, I mean, especially in social media, then maybe it's just it isn't as authentic. It's kind of an act. But I've always enjoyed following businesses that post things like, maybe even like, look, here's what went wrong today, isn't this funny? Like little stuff like that. I think, Allie, you may be aware of this, but I'm thinking about at the Culpeper here in Rockwall. There's a sign in the outdoor eating area that talks about, I don't remember if it's like it must be a possum. There's literally a possum that lives nearby. So instead of calling animal control or somebody to remove the possum, we're like, we're just going to put up a sign about the possum. Now, I think they have a name for it. I don't remember exactly what the sign says, but I remember it being funny. And I know that's not social media, but it's the same vein, right? It's like let's just be entertaining and not everything has to be perfect. And I think that companies that embrace that do come off as a lot more authentic and relatable. I mean, it's kind of like this podcast, where we're not all in 3-piece suits and we might say every now and then, and but it's more authentic. So I think that's a really good thing. When that comes through on social media, I know I'm a lot more likely to hit follow or like.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one thing that we try to do with this podcast is we try to show the community that although we're business owners, we're just normal, regular people that have daily struggles like every other normal, regular person has. And we want to we want them to see us as who we are, not what we do. And so I think that authenticity is important. I also think that it's valuable that we use social media. We can use that to actually study our competitors and kind of see what they're doing. Is that something that you've done before, Allie or Bobby?
Yes. Yeah. I've definitely looked at what competitors are doing, especially when it comes to creating content, seeing, what kind of content they're posting, how people are reacting to it, who's talking about it. So definitely is important to bear in mind when creating content and a strategy.
Well, and isn't that another way to find your own inspiration and creativity? I mean, not that you're going to copycat somebody, but if you stay in your same bubble all the time, it's hard to continue to, and as a content manager, you got to be creative. right? You've got to have new and fresh ideas. And the only way to get that is to get outside of your own bubble sometimes. And you may see a competitor, or you may see somebody that's in a totally different industry, something that they do, and you can then visualize how you could recreate that and not plagiarize it or anything like that, but you could recreate that. And now it's a fresh new idea for your own company.
Right. Yeah, you can totally do that. And, I oftentimes am looking to other businesses for inspiration for Instagram reels or videos, or, seeing what messaging is working for them and taking it, putting our own spin on it, or maybe taking it and saying, ooh, that didn't perform really well. Let's not do that. So.
Exactly. Well, Frank, what about you? What are you doing? And I know that, since we started the podcast, you've done some different things, but what are you doing with your social media that's helping it become more of a resource for the community of Rockwall and surrounding areas than just social media?
Well, actually, Lyndon, I had my social media completely shut down. I had a really good store Facebook page with a lot of content over the last 6 years. And I turned it over to somebody that was getting into the social media business, and she was going to do all my posting. And Meta decided it was a fake page and completely removed everything, and nobody can figure out how to get it back. So I'm going to have to start over from ground one and just completely rebuild everything and start over. I'm going to get with somebody that does that, probably Ethan.
Yeah. Have you talked to Brian Decker? He works at Meta. He may be able to help you with that.
Yeah. I'll give him a call and see if there's a way we can revive it. But and I've gone through some similar situations like that. And that is a frustrating part about social media I was telling someone the other day, after every show we do, I get 4 or 5 emails about copyright infringement. Now they're hacks. They're not real. Yeah. But if I click on it, which I did one time because I didn't know better, and it completely shut everything down. And getting a live person on a telephone is, impossible.
Next to impossible. So I don't want to put Brian Decker on the spot, but he might have a resource for you there, Frank. That might be able to help.
Yeah, I'll give him a call and see if he's got an idea.
What highlights an interesting risk that's relevant to our topic here. I mean, if we rely heavily on one stream, one social media outlet too heavily, and we do find ourselves locked out of it, that's or the content lost or something like that. That's a real nightmare scenario. I'm sure the social media experts will probably say there's some kind of solution to that, but probably a really big deal to be on all the platforms. And, a lot of them talk to each other these days too, right? So,
right.
I don't know.
So, Bobby, what about you? Do you use social media at all with your business?
We do. And we're more posting content that's, service related. We really don't do any sales online. We just try to provide content, ideas, advice, and through that, we hope to gain some business. But we're not hard selling online at all right now. And we're kind of diversifying our portfolio, online and social media, if you will. We're really Facebook heavy, but we started to do Instagram, and we've got a YouTube channel, and we'll probably do some others. But I think to Kayne's point too, you don't want to put all your chips in one basket. If something happens, you really, at least for me, I feel more comfortable spreading that out a bit. And you can post content to a lot of different things, and it'll put it on every available social media site for you, or whatever ones you want. It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. That's really good. So we're coming up on another break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap this segment up, and then we're going to talk to our co-host and our host, or our co-host and our guest when we come back, a little bit more about their business. So I want everybody to stick around, and we'll be back in just a few.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media LLC, Our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
All right, we are back. We're going to wrap up our segment of May's topic, which is turning social media into service media. Before we go into interviewing you guys a little bit more in depth and talking a little bit more about who you are and what you do, did anybody have any last thoughts or comments on our topic?
Good.
Somebody mentioned, I really like the Facebook ads that are less salesy and more content, because you see a lot of them that are really heavily trying to push a product. Those are the ones that kind of turn you off. But there's several businesses here in Rockwall that are really good, like Doc's Roofing would be one of them. Ashmore and Ashmore Law Firm. Casey is really good about putting on inspirational videos and that kind of thing. That keeps him top of mind, but he's not saying, hey, please use my law firm.
Well, and that's a great point that you bring up. And I want to say hi real quick to Paul Fisher. What's going on, Paul? Paul's part of our Wiley show and part of our Frisco show. So thank you for tuning in, Paul. Appreciate it. Frank, you make a good point, because if the only thing you're ever doing on social media is selling your product or service, then you're reducing your reach down to just a niche. And that's people that want what you have right now and they're interested in it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But if that happens to be 5 or 10% of your whole following, then you're alienating 95 to 90%. And we all know what the unfollow button is, right? When you get tired of watching somebody, you can hit the unfollow button and never see their stuff again. And I think so many people make that mistake, that you're out there, you're kind of fishing for something, and then all of a sudden everything goes away because you have alienated the people that may not want what you have right now. And so I think one of the challenges and objectives is to try to figure out how to be a resource of content, like you said, Frank, so that you keep the people's attention that may not want what you have right now. And just what you did yourself, you just mentioned Ashmore and Ashmore, right? And you mentioned Doc's Roofing. You just became a brand ambassador for them based on how they do their social media. And so they got free advertising from you because of how they are approaching their whole social media. If it was just sales, you would have never mentioned them.
Yeah. Yep. That is true.
All right. So let's go back now, and we want to get back into our guest and our co-host. I want to go with you first, Bobby. I know we talked about your business. I want to know how you came up with your name. But first of all, I want to know this personally. What does a commissioner do?
So a county commissioner is, you look at it kind of like an administrator for the county. So first responsibility is the county budget and everything that goes along with the county budget. So think sheriff, jail, courts, roads and bridges, all of those things that a county has to do. A county commissioner oversees all of that, and specifically for whatever precinct they're in. But there's only 5 total votes on the court, so everything you do as commissioner really affects the whole county. And there's some other things that a commissioner does besides that, but that's the main role, really, is to oversee the operation of what the county needs to do. It's a department of the state, so it's kind of like a subdivision of the state. So whatever the legislature does and tells us, okay, here are the things that you need to accomplish, it's the county commissioner's job to figure out how to accomplish those things.
Okay, and stay under budget.
And stay under budget. Well, under budget, hopefully, yes.
And you have to be in charge of the MUDs too, because I'll hear county commissioners talking about our MUDs.
Man, terrible.
So
terrible.
It's funny I wanted to bring that up, but I don't know enough about it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna open up that box. I'll wait for somebody else to do it. But I hear that's a pretty hot topic in the Rockwall area right now.
It is. I mean, we're overdeveloped a bit right now residentially for our infrastructure, and not to say that we want to stop development. We don't ever want to do that, but we're all for commercial development. But our dense mud type developments that are coming to Rockwall, and especially the county areas that are unincorporated, are really killing our infrastructure, and we just cannot catch up. And they're really bad for the county. We've got, for example, a 6,500 home development trying to come into the county right now. It's super, houses are really close together. And it's going to really impact everybody here. It's going to mean we have to build 2 schools. We've got to hire 7 sheriff's deputies just for this development. And when you start talking about all of that impact alone, and where are we going to get the water? It's important that we look at all these things conservatively. And so that's why it's such a hot topic in Rockwall right now.
So, Bobby, explain to everybody that may be watching that doesn't understand what MUD is. Explain what that is.
So MUD's a municipal utility district, and what it is this typically happens in unincorporated areas of a county most of the time, sometimes not. But it is where this development has its own utilities. So they're not going to connect to city utilities at all. They're going to build their own utilities in. They typically have a sewer, some kind of small sewage package plant in the development somewhere, and they're going to charge an additional tax to the residents that live there that's going to pay the developer back for bringing these utilities in. Most of the time, these taxes take 30 years, just like a mortgage sometimes, to pay off. And it could take longer, because think of it like a timeshare. So this utility district can raise taxes at any time they want. They also can raise maintenance fees and a lot of other things at any time they want. And they're usually only represented by one person in the district. So I know a lot of people don't pay attention to that, but when you see a municipal utility district election, there's always only one person to vote for. And that one person controls that whole entire entity. And that's why, for me running as commissioner, it's one of the main reasons I'm running, is this kind of development is very dangerous for Rockwall, in that it's taxing people really without representation. And that too, it's a really big drain on our resources, and they don't build into any of our infrastructure.
Wow. That was a good lesson. Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Sure, of course.
All right, Allie, tell us a little bit more about you, and what did you do before you started with Unco?
So before I started with Unco, I was at a local social media agency, and I had, like I had mentioned before, lots of clients in the hospitality realm, and I loved working with restaurants, and so I was predominantly working in social media, had a team and everything like that. And now that I'm at Unco, I have kind of transitioned into more of a marketing manager role, where I, like I've mentioned before, see multiple parts of the marketing funnel rather than just social media.
You mentioned being a foodie. Are there benefits in working for Unco? I mean, talking employee discounts, stuff like that.
Right.
I'm going to call it my application.
There are benefits, but there are also risks. But, yeah, so Unco is really great. Unco truly cares about their people and everything like that. So everybody that works in the team services office, which is just another word for our corporate office, we all get to eat for free at the restaurants, which can be super dangerous. We actually just opened up our second Culpeper location in Dallas. And so I am at the offices right above it. But we have been here, helping out opening the restaurant, and it is tough not to get a chicken fried steak every single day.
Sounds good. And that's the Continental Gin building, right?
Correct. Yes. Continental Gin building.
And you guys have other stuff planned. I have no idea if that's public or not, so I'll just be quiet about it. But I'll let you say it.
We do have some things in the works. Some things maybe I would wait to share about just yet. But yeah, the newest Culpeper is the Culpeper that I'm at is the newest Culpeper that we have. So we're super excited about that. It's got the same, kind of, I'm sure you all have been to the Culpeper Rockwall. It's been around 30 years or so. So it's got those fun taxidermy pieces and, all those old antique pieces, but it kind of meshes together some Dallas flair and contemporary elements too. But fun fact, all the decor on the walls at this Culpeper are from the Rockwall location. So.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not going to ask you which restaurant, but you already said chicken fried steak. Is that your favorite meal of all the restaurants, or what's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal out of all the restaurants, honestly, we have a pretty good tuna poke bowl, which is you wouldn't think, right? It's a random dish, but it's delicious. And it's fresh, and it's my favorite out of all the concepts for sure. And we have it at a couple of our concepts too. So it's always an easy order because I can get it at multiple places.
Okay. All right. So what does UNCO stand for?
That's a good question. UNCO stands for Unconventional Hospitality. So I know a lot of people are always like, well, what is UNCO? What does that mean? So yeah, it's a shortened of that word. And basically what that kind of means to us is, we're always looking to do things outside of the box, unconventional, and, provide really, really great experiences, not only for our team members, but for the people we serve and the communities that we serve. I know that that's super, super important to our, brand ethos as a whole. And then it trickles down into all of our stores as well.
Okay. All right. Bobby, your turn. How did you come up with Barmetrix?
So really what we do is so data driven that we thought, metrics was obviously part of it. And in bar where we always start our business. So it's just a combination of what we really do. And that's how we came up with the name.
That's what I thought. But when we first met and you gave me your business card, I was reading it. I was trying to coordinate. I'm like, is this something medical?
Yeah.
I could not figure it out.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of questions answered today. Very good.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions for all of you. And I know that Frank and Kayne have heard this one before, but how do you define success in your role? And Allie, we'll go first with you.
Okay. Loaded question to start out.
Always.
How do I define success in my role? I think honestly, just continuing to come up with strategies that are out of the box, but also keeping in mind, are they easily executed for the store level? And does this make sense for the brand? So really coming up with campaigns and promotions that, align with our brands, and make the store managers and the store's lives easier, because that's my main purpose, is to make their lives easy and get them business. So I think that that would be how I would define success.
That's really cool. That's got to be a fun job. It really does.
It is fun.
Bobby, what about you? How do you define success in your role?
So I think it's a couple of things. One, on the strictly business side, it's just we always look at our retention rate of our clients. And if we feel like our retention over the last 5 years is about 93%. So we feel like if we're retaining our clients, that we're providing value to them. And so that tells us that we're doing the right things in our business and that we're successful. And then on the people side of our business, the success for me is how many people am I bringing into our system? And then is there room for them to grow? And if I'm able to take somebody from, an auditor standpoint where they're just counting inventory to an account manager where they're managing 10 to 15 accounts and giving them a career, then that really is what I'm passionate about, and giving people opportunity, then that is what success is about to me.
Very good. Very good. Kayne, what about you?
I think for me am I helping an entrepreneur, achieve their dreams? And that is sometimes it's starting a new business. Sometimes it's just expanding or making more efficient an existing business. Sometimes it's acquiring an existing business that's already running really, really well. But I take a lot of satisfaction in that. If I think I'm successful if my customers are, making a little more money year over year whenever they can, and we retain them. And like Bobby said, I feel like my retention rate's really, really good. So I feel that I deliver a good service, and that's not always easy in such a commodity business because banks we all sell the same thing. It's the same U.S. dollar. And the only thing that we can do to set ourselves apart is just to be a good partner, to return phone calls and to come up with creative ways to help people access capital to do what it is they want to do.
Very good. Frank, what about you? How do you define success?
Happy customers and a 5-star Google rating.
There you go.
Really, I just like to meet deadlines and keep customers happy and not have anybody upset. That is my definition of success.
All right.
Meet customer deadlines.
I do like the fact of the retention part, because I think that it's critical for all of us, right? I mean, how do you scale and how do you grow if you can't retain? Right. And if you're always replacing, you're just running on a treadmill, basically. So I think that is extremely important. All right, what we're going to do now, final commercial. When we come back, we're going to do a rapid fire. This is more for just fun, and we'll hit you with some really hard-hitting questions. Not really. They're kind of easy and they're fun. But everybody stick around because this is going to be fun. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching today's show. The Community Difference-Rockwall is brought to you in part by Alan Lester, loan officer with the One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Delisa Lapinsky with Lapinsky Realty Group. Frank McLeod with Minuteman Press. Kayne Pierce, Vice President and Commercial Banker for B1 Bank. Charles Barnaby with Barnaby Heating and Air. Brian Decker with Compass Facilities Consulting. And Josh Small with WeatherTech General Contracting. If you, or someone you know would like to sponsor, or be a co-host sponsor of this show, or other shows like it, please give us a call at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready? Rapid fire.
All right, here we go. Fun time. We're going to start with Frank first. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Brush my teeth.
All right. Allie.
Make my bed.
Okay. That's going to be another question soon. Kayne.
Well, I was going to say brush my teeth and make my bed. So I guess probably head to the restroom. I'm getting that old.
What about you, Bobby?
Yeah, I'd say all of those. Stumble to the restroom, brush my teeth, then come back and try to make my bed in a foggy haze of sleep.
Mine is let the dog out, go to the restroom to make my bed, and but my alarm clock is my dog. Question: is your bed made right now, Allie?
Yes.
Kayne?
Absolutely.
Frank?
That would be a no. It'll have to get
Bobby.
fixed when I get home.
Oh yeah, it's made. It's made.
All right, mine's made too. What's your favorite way, Bobby, to unwind after a long day?
Can I say a nice glass of bourbon?
You sure
On
can.
the couch?
That's
That'd be
been
great.
said on many shows.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's it.
Frank?
A nice cigar.
Kayne?
Mine's a combination of cigar and bourbon, but if I'm not ready for the cigar yet, sometimes I will walk right next door to Standard Service, and they have a pretty decent old-fashioned.
They do.
Allie?
Well, Bobby took mine, but a glass of wine on the couch.
Okay. We'll go in reverse. Allie, what's the most unusual job you've ever had?
I was a personal assistant for someone in my neighborhood one time.
Okay. Harvey, thanks for tuning in, Harvey. We appreciate you. Kayne, most unusual job.
So the job itself wasn't that unusual. I was a server, but I was a server at Joe's Crab Shack. And everybody that knows me knows that what we had to do there as a server is not something that falls within my normal skill set or propensity. We had to do these stupid dances every time a certain song. And at the time, I don't remember hating it that bad, but looking back 20 years later, I'm like, I can't believe I did that.
Right. They weren't paying you nearly enough money, were they?
Nope.
Frank, most unusual job.
Way back in 1982, I worked for Chuck E. Cheese off Northwest Highway in Dallas, and I was the only one that was 6'3", and I had to dress up in the Chuck E. Cheese suit every time, every shift.
Oh my God, that's hilarious! This is awesome.
Rough.
Bobby, what about you?
I had a job my first year of college where I had to clean out 18-wheelers after they came back and then drive them around and park them in other areas. That was different.
Okay. Bobby, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
I think it was in the corporate when I first started in the corporate world, and the one of the big bosses came and said, "Look, don't worry about profits. Just worry about your customers and your employees. Don't worry about anything else." And that was it.
Do the right things, everything else comes about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Frank, what about you? Best advice you've ever gotten? Besides what Lee gives you every day.
She gives me a little bit of advice every day. Now, I had a lot of people tell me not to buy a print shop, but they were wrong, and I'm glad I did it. That was the worst advice I ever got was don't go to work for yourself. It's more headache than it's worth. Work for somebody else, but they were wrong.
Kayne?
I had a boss years ago from South Louisiana, and he said it in his South Louisiana accent. The best way to go fast is to go slow. And he would tell me that all the time. Because I'm rushing through getting things done. And before I had a little bit more experience, I would be I would get the job done at 90% accuracy rather than take another 20 minutes to get to 100%. Right? I was authentic, like we were talking about earlier. In the banking setting, you want to be accurate. So the best way to go fast is to go slow. And I thought that was not that great at the time, but looking back, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. I get it.
Yep. It does. Sure does. Allie?
I would say, I know this one's a cliche, but don't stress over the things that you can't control. And I feel like that definitely applies to the hospitality industry. I feel like there's a lot of things changing and a lot of uncontrollables. So I definitely have to tell myself that one every day.
All right. All right. Here's our last one. And we're going to start with Kayne because this kind of fits in with what he was saying. What's your go-to productivity hack?
So I don't put anything off. Like I return all emails every day. I think that's really, really big because I have a hard time getting started in the morning if I have a big pile of things, So I'll actually will return every email before I leave the office. And then usually before bed, I'll see if there's any after hours emails and I'll flag them for follow up if I have to, but I'll try to reply. I like to keep my plate clean. I love having the things checked off the list and knowing that the ball's not in my court. And I find that allows me to focus on the more nebulous projects.
Very good. Ali, what about you?
Definitely a robust to-do list or a platform. I use like monday.com or something like that to organize my tasks. But then I also split up my day into time sections. Sometimes if I have a lot of high priority projects, I will set a timer for an hour. And then after that hour's done, I'll move on to something else and come back. And that seems to be a really, really good hack that works for me.
All right, Frank?
Mine's going to be real boring because I do the exact same thing Kayne does. I cannot stand to come in with something undone from yesterday. I'll stay late. It doesn't matter. I got to have it all done today and not put things off till tomorrow because there's a chance I'll forget and it won't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just like an email I owed you that I finally got to you today. So I woke up this morning. I'm like, did I send that email? Because I thought I did, and I didn't. So, Bobby, what about you?
Yeah, I'm more of a make an action plan for the day that's important to me, or I'll get off track. And I usually start with the things the biggest items first. So eat the frog first, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all for rapid fire. I appreciate you guys sharing that. That was a lot of fun. Learned a lot about you. What we're going to do now is we're going to go around and we're going to give you guys a chance for final thoughts and to tell everybody that might want to get in touch with you how to do that. Allie, we'll start with you first.
So if you need to reach me, you can, look at my email below, or you can just reach out to our whole marketing team at marketing@unco.com. Final thoughts was this was really fun. Thank you guys for having me on. I really enjoyed getting to dive into Unco and social media and kind of be able to put, face with the name. So thank you.
Oh, awesome. Bobby?
Yeah, appreciate being on the show as well. It's lots of fun. My information will also scroll below if you want to get a hold of me. And if you have a bar or restaurant or know somebody that can benefit from our services, please reach out. Our initial consulting is free of charge, and if we decide to move forward, we work that out at that time. So it's been great to be here.
And go out and vote.
Yes, definitely go vote. Let's go vote.
All right, Kayne.
My name's, again, Kayne Pierce. I'm with B1 Bank. I do commercial banking for the most part, but we can do just a little bit of everything at B1. So I'd like to be your go-to person if you do have a commercial banking need. My info is there. My cell phone, though, is 318-455-3572. That's the best way to reach me. And you can also just stop by and see me right here by Standard Service in the office building. We have a bank branch, and I'm here most days.
All right, and Frank.
Hey, everybody, all my information is scrolling below. If you need your name put on something, we can do it. Anything printed, we're your go-to.
Absolutely. And I am Lyndon Wilson. I'm the creator of The Difference and the Community Difference series of shows in Rockwall, Wiley, Plano, and Frisco. We've got a few more we're looking to add around the DFW area. So if you're in a community that may not be those four I talked about and you would like to see one of these shows come to your community, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help. Ladies, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all being on today and tolerating me as the host. This was definitely, it's like getting back on the horse, but it sure was, for me, it was a rough ride today. I feel like I'm a little rusty.
You look like you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the grace on that. But it's fun hosting. It's fun producing, but it's challenging to do both. But for everybody watching today, thank you very much. Thank you for your comments. And we will be back next Wednesday at 2:30 talking about the same topic with a brand new set of co-hosts and guests. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for watching today's show. The Community Difference-Rockwall is brought to you in part by Alan Lester, loan officer with the One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Delisa Lapinsky with Lapinsky Realty Group. Frank McLeod with Minuteman Press. Kayne Pierce, Vice President and Commercial Banker for B1 Bank. Charles Barnaby with Barnaby Heating and Air. Brian Decker with Compass Facilities Consulting. And Josh Small with WeatherTech General Contracting.